Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Are we serious? Is this real?
Oh my God!
Who is that?
5 people stabbed on the Apple River.
We got 3 individuals down the river.
There was blood all over the water.
Significant stabbing.
One of the more chaotic scenes that I've been a part of.
Does he have a pulse?
So right now you're being placed under arrest, okay?
Nobody got it right. Nobody's story about why this happened was accurate.
Stabbed. Her right there, she got stabbed.
I hear somebody got stabbed, and I fit the description.
I think this case got attention not only locally but nationally because of that self-defense claim.
I just know that I took the knife from one of the kids.
I mean, it didn't happen.
Were you truthful to her about the knife?
No, I lied about the knife.
He lied about the knife.
It was the fatal flaw in the defense.
He has the knife in his hand.
I mean, he has the option of just walking away. Instead, he takes out his knife.
I was in self-defense. I went into self-defense mode.
I think anyone watching this case wants to know why he didn't just walk away.
Nick was judged for not walking away.
You're left playing the what-if game.
The jury finds Nicolae Miu guilty of first-degree reckless homicide as submitted.
He'll be asking those questions in prison for decades to come. Kind of a slow-moving, running river. So you sit on an inner tube and you just kind of let it go, you know, a little bit of paddling. You can kind of meander around. It has some nice curves to it. It's pretty, it's lush in the summertime.
I think the river is very unique. You know, having tubing in your own backyard.
Very popular destination for folks from the cities, from western Wisconsin.
There were a number of people tubing. It was a warm day.
It was end of July. It was a gorgeous hot summer day, and a lazy day tubing down the river, some adult pops, and yeah, that's all it was meant to be.
We ate well, we had music, everything was so good, so good.
Everybody's drinking. Some people are using other drugs.
Somebody slumped on the river, bro. How you slump? How the hell you slump on the river?
It should have been a beautiful summer day for all of those people on the river that day, and it was just obviously a tragic set of circumstances that led us to what happened.
Now on Fox 9 News at 5, several people stabbed at a popular tubing spot.
Yeah, we got one.
Where'd the suspect go?
I don't know. No, but we got. She got stabbed. Her right there, she got stabbed.
Okay.
And there's 2 down there yet too.
One of the more chaotic scenes that I've been a part of, just because of the dynamics of it.
A deadly stabbing spree on the Apple River, and tonight investigators are trying to figure out why.
Multiple injuries, multiple ambulances coming in to treat.
You got one individual slit from here to his chest. His guts are exposed. The other one is slit, stabbed in the chest. You got one stab in the kidney area.
3 down there.
It was chaotic. It was confusing.
We got 3 individuals down the river.
Where did he go?
I know you don't.
Significant stabbing.
He punched me in the face. I don't know what the.
Stop! His stomach is out.
There was blood all over the water.
My initial information that I had was that multiple people were stabbed, possibly one was deceased, and that the suspect was still on the loose.
The guy is still walking up the river.
The suspect?
Yes, he still had his knife out. He was still stabbing up the river.
4502 dispatch. We just received information. Suspect still has the knife and heading upriver on foot.
As you watch some of the body cameras, they still don't know who had done this.
You know who it is? No, it's just some rando on the river.
They've got officers with rifles because they don't know who the person is, where they're at.
I need to grab my rifle. I'll be up there in a second.
So there was basically a 35, 40-minute search for the assailant, for the man who had stabbed those victims that day.
I don't know. Yeah, I have to get some witnesses.
I started asking if there's cell phone footage. One thought
one guy back there had it. Yeah.
Okay. Where did he go?
I knew, again, from my experiences on the river, the amount of witnesses that we had to try to remember and keep track of. This was going to be a very large detail.
One of the challenges for investigators from the beginning was, who's a witness?
You got a video of the suspect?
I don't got a video of the suspect. I got a video of like the aftermath.
Okay.
Originally, there was witnesses that said he fled into the woods.
Suspect went into the woods at the initial location, a quarter-mile upriver from the 64 bridge.
Knowing the geography of the river, there were a number of areas that anybody could flee.
8819 dispatch. Suspect information.
8819, go with the suspect.
Being told a white male, swim shorts, shirtless, armed with a knife, possibly 50 years old.
I need to see that picture as soon as possible. I've got a photo!
They had taken a photo off of one of the witnesses' cell phones looking for their quote-unquote suspect, and he was spotted at the river's exit point.
I think it's him.
Not violent. It looks a lot like him.
I think his first plan was to get away. You know, he tried to just not tell his group anything, tried to just tube to the exit.
Nobody asked me anything, and I said, I kept my mouth shut, and down the river we went.
I was very surprised that he had continued his float and was out at the exit point at the end of the river.
He had floated right by law enforcement and the injured parties and attempted to leave.
Chain match.
What's your name?
Nick.
Nick what?
Nick Miu.
Charges reveal the man who stabbed several people on the Apple River Saturday, Nicolae Miu, killing a 17-year-old boy from Stillwater.
Isaac Schumann was one of 5 stabbed on the Apple River, his family remembering him as an honor roll student who had a very bright future.
Isaac was kind and smart, talented, funny, helpful, harmless, and he was just a mother's dream as a child. Always told me he loved me, hugs every day. I mean, he was just really a loving, kind, sensitive kid. He was sensitive ever since he was little. He was just really, I don't even remember ever raising my voice to him. He was just a really good kid.
When he fell into the water, I knew he was holding the left side of his chest, and so when I picked him up, I noticed he had a huge gash in his chest that was bleeding out.
You're gonna hear that there's 6 victims in this case. One that was punched, 5 that were stabbed, and you're gonna hear from all those victims except Isaac Schumann. Riley Madison was stabbed.
And I felt like I was dying.
Dante Carlson was stabbed.
AJ, look at me.
AJ Martin was stabbed.
My stomach was open and my intestines were in my hands.
Tony Carlson was stabbed. Madison Coleman was punched.
He punched me in the face.
The credibility of Madison Cohen and the other witnesses who say that Madison Cohen was punched is going to be, you know, a linchpin in this case.
You know, there were conflicting statements as to was she punched or slapped. Mr. Miu said she was pushed.
The tubers believe that Nicolae Miu throws the first punch and that it is a significant blow.
Nobody got it right. Nobody's story about why this happened was accurate.
And if it was in fact Nicolae Miu who threw the first punch, he then can't turn around and claim self-defense.
That was his belief. He believed he was acting in self-defense.
All I can say, it was self-defense. Self-defense. There were lots of people that came on to me.
You're going to hear in this trial that Nicolae said it was self-defense. But there's a video of what happened.
Once you slow the video down and you see everything that he had done as it happened, it was the whole case.
Nicolae Miu had absolutely no idea there was a video, and you can tell that in his evolving stories.
I don't even know what happened. I just know that they attacked me, and I was in self-defense. I went into self-defense mode.
I think this case got attention not only locally but nationally because of that self-defense claim.
You know, one of the key things in self-defense in Wisconsin is it's about the belief. Did Mr. Miu have a particular belief? Was his belief reasonable?
The self-defense claim in itself was very unique. It's not something that we see often.
You could have walked away, right?
Yeah.
You didn't walk away either, did you?
No.
Obviously, Kyle Rittenhouse's attorney was the attorney on this case. That attorney won that very high-profile case, but self-defense is not a claim that we see very often, and it's unique, especially in the state of Wisconsin, where they do not have a duty to retreat.
So he doesn't have any more responsibility to walk away than you guys do, does he?
Nope. The entire issue is self-defense here, right? But that's something that he said immediately during his interrogation, and that's something he said throughout. I think we counted it up, and it was like over 20 times that he had said that, right?
All I can say, it was self-defense. Self-defense. There were lots of people that came on to me.
You're going to hear in this trial that Nicolae said it was self-defense. But there's a video of what happened.
You had to see the video. That's an absolute certainty. No matter how you read the criminal complaint, and there are some aspects of it where even reading the information, you are left with some points in there that are sort of supportive of a self-defense claim, that he's knocked down in the water. That's scary. But then you look at the video.
Being able to watch it frame by frame really, really made a difference for me to be able to understand what happened.
You can see in the video, he wants to find his snorkel and goggles that have gone under, and he becomes agitated looking for that. And I think that, again, just continues to gin up and escalate what is happening during this confrontation between these Stillwater teenagers and Nicolae Miu.
Who is that? Who the hell is this?
It doesn't matter.
He was running. He said he was looking for a little girl. He said he was looking for a little girl.
They are accusing him of being a raper, of looking for little girls, being sick, being disgusting.
I mean, we saw the same thing everyone sees in the video. The boys are loud.
No, he's a raper.
They're yelling.
Yes. Where's the concert?
There's a lot of people there around Mr. Miu.
13 against 1. They yelled and they screamed in order to attract a crowd. They got a crowd. They told lies to make the crowd angry.
These teenagers don't look great in this situation.
It definitely didn't look good. You know, it makes the boys who are saying that less sympathetic, I think.
He's looking for little girls. He's looking for little girls.
Grown man trying to have sex with little girls. What the hell?
He's a predator. He's a predator. They chanted. They pulled on him. They closed the space around him.
They were taunting him. They were mocking him. They were making up this story about him being a predator. So they don't look great in the video.
Do you believe telling him that he can't have sex with little girls and calling him a raper would be considered antagonizing?
Yes. The kids, Isaac Schumann's friends, took a lot of criticism for what they had done you know, what they had said to him, being mean to him. Every one of those boys, and we had met with them several times, they were devastated by this. What kind of names did you call them?
Pedophile, predator.
Maybe a dumb question, but you don't seem to be proud of that?
No, sir.
Do you agree that you boys probably weren't very kind to him?
Yeah, I agree.
What we heard was a lot of remorse for the way that they treated Miu.
I'm sure they'll have that the rest of their lives.
What the hell is this guy's problem, bro? We're trying to have fun. If he's gonna claim you, he's gonna claim you. We don't want this motherfucker. Let it on camera. Let it on camera. He on camera. Oh God. Oh God, he on camera. Oh God, he on camera.
I mean, they said awful things to call him a raper, but it is what drew the attention of this other tubing group.
You're gonna hear them yelling, "Go, get your ass and go, go, get your ass and go, 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 go."
Madison Cohen gets right in Nicolae Miu's face and tells him he needs to go. He needs to leave. He needs to go away, get away from the situation.
He ain't a woman. He ain't a woman. You ain't a woman.
And they start yelling at him, "Get away, get away, get away."
Oh God, he on camera.
They're yelling at me. At one point, they were pointing downriver and saying, "Go, go, get away."
He has the option of just walking away. Instead, he takes out his knife.
He had the knife down at his side, or in front of him, if you will.
He doesn't look down. He doesn't announce that he has a knife, and he has it in a position where it does appear he is ready to use it.
He never told them to move, with or without the knife. He didn't try to back up himself. He didn't yell out, "Help, help me."
He opens it, blade up, still smirking.
What also struck me is the look on his face as he's doing these things. He had some weird smiles. He was smirking. He was scowling. That's the look on your face.
Yeah,
That's an angry look.
not to me. I was annoyed, more than frustrated, but not angry.
Seeing him fiddling with the knife and then pulling the knife out and comparing it with what's on his face, to me was important. I mean, it was bizarre.
Something happens in that moment, and it is what then escalates the situation to out of control.
Maddie had come running to me. He punched me, he punched me.
They spent a lot of time focusing on the Madison Cohen hit and whether or not that happened and how to prove that that happened.
And that's where punches are thrown, and Nicolae Miu goes down into the water.
So when you hear in the background someone who may or may not have even known they were being recorded say you don't hit a girl, that means that they're reacting to something that they saw, and that reinforces their testimony.
The fact that an individual yelled, "He hit a woman" or "He hit a girl," that is something where I could see the jury giving that statement greater weight because of the fact that it was said instantaneously and with the excitement of the emotion of seeing that happen.
I would find it incredibly hard to believe that somebody sitting or standing in that position after he's gotten knocked down into the water and he's been hit and he's been, by multiple people, that somebody in that situation would not believe that they were being harmed, would not be afraid.
Nicolae gets right up with the knife in his right hand.
No one else realized he had a knife. So there are people that are sort of going in, jumping on, trying to push, trying to shove, that don't realize there's a knife and people are being stabbed.
As AJ is pushing Nicolae stabs into his lower abdomen with the blade up. slices out his stomach.
I was bewildered, and I didn't realize what was going on until I saw AJ literally disemboweled.
Do you have a pulse? They cut him wide open. His whole stomach's open. AJ, you keep looking at me. AJ? He's barely grabbing on.
So AJ was critically ill. We received word that as he was being flown to us, that his heart had stopped.
AJ, you hold on, okay? Hold my hand.
I mean, I was still conscious. I was talking, but after that, really, all I remember is that, and then telling Tony that I was gonna die, and him telling me I was gonna be fine, and that I wasn't. And my response every time was, like 100%, I'm going to die today. And then I remember waking up in the hospital with a breathing tube and my parents looking at me.
Isaac was stabbed in the chest and the torso, cut clean through 2 ribs, and sliced his heart.
He's dying, bro. Wait, what? What? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are we serious? Is this real? Oh my God. Who is that? Oh my God. Is this real? Is this real? Oh my God.
I immediately grabbed him, saw that he was injured and wasn't able to completely move, and that's when I decided I needed to hold pressure onto the wound and drag him to the shore.
Did you do that?
I did. I apologize.
Stick with us, Isaac!
Died almost immediately. He was 17 years old.
I just went running and I ran up into one of the ambulances thinking that it was Isaac sitting up in there, and I started crawling into the ambulance and I realized it wasn't Isaac, it was one of the other kids. And so then I climbed out and then I looked and I saw Isaac's hair laying on the riverbank. I knew it was him. And they were trying to perform CPR on him.
Did you go to Isaac?
Yeah, I ran to Isaac.
And when you got to Isaac, was it clear he was already deceased?
Yes. I relive all of it every day, whether it's in my dreams, my nightmares, my thoughts. I'm consumed by it. Some days it's paralyzing, it's exhausting.
I didn't see the video until probably the next day when we met with the district attorney's office. So again, that entire day, I didn't know any of the sequence of events. You know, once you slow the video down and you see everything that he had done as it happened, it was the whole case.
Nicolae Miu had absolutely no idea there was a video, and you can tell that in his evolving stories.
Initially in the squad car, he denied having any idea of what happened.
Here, somebody got stabbed, and I fit the description.
He then came up with this elaborate tale of 2 knives and turning them on an individual.
And one had it in his hand, so I took his hand and I bent it and I poked him with his own hand. And then I took it from his hand and then I went and swung like this. So I don't know who I hit. I just know that I took the knife from one of the kids.
When you spoke with Brandy Hart, were you truthful to her about the knife?
No, I lied about the knife.
I mean, he lied. He said he lied. He lied about the knife.
Anything you say can be used against you in court or other proceedings. You have the right to consult an attorney before making any statement or answering any question, and you may have him or her present with you during questioning.
Well, you know, the interrogation, we kind of had waited. You know, we knew it was coming.
I was so fearful.
We all thought that there was going to be damning evidence. This was built up during opening statements. We were waiting to see what it looked like. And when that video was played in court, it was significant.
He must have assumed that there was no video.
Nicolae Miu had absolutely no idea there was a video, and you can tell that in his evolving stories.
Because if he knew that, I just can't imagine why he would have made the statements that he did. Initially in the squad car, he denied having any idea of what happened.
Okay. I hear somebody got stabbed. And I fit the description.
Yes, you do.
The first huge moment for us was playing the body cam from Sheriff Knudsen, where he's playing dumb, like he doesn't know what's going on.
At that point, few, if any, knew that there was a full video.
That was a pivotal point in the case when they played not only the video in the back of the squad car, but the video of him being interrogated at the police station where he lies.
They pointed the knife at me. Both boys pointed the knife at me.
He then came up with this elaborate tale of 2 knives and turning them on an individual.
And one had it in his hand, so I took his hand and I bent it and I poked him with his own hand. And then I took it from his hand and then I went and swung like this. So I don't know who I hit. I just know that I took the knife from one of the kids.
And that he spun the kid's wrist around and poked him with his own knife. I mean, it didn't happen.
And then being worried about when he was talking to Officer Hart, that he was worried about where his goggles were.
Those goggles are lost. They took them, grabbed them off my face and threw them in the water.
We found the goggles.
Oh, good, thank you.
His special goggles. I mean, it was just, he's clearly a sick, narcissistic, evil man. When you just heard that, you just stabbed 5 people, lied about it, pretend you don't know anything about it, and then make up stories that weren't true, and then ask about goggles.
He was trying to be a good actor. I think he was trying to convince Lieutenant Hart, that he was the victim in the whole thing. And frankly, without the video, I believe that we would have heard that was the story.
But for that video, he could have showed up at trial and still been claiming they pulled knives on me.
Did you have a knife?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, he lied. He said he lied. He lied about the knife.
It was the fatal flaw in the defense.
So what happened? Can you tell me what happened?
Yes. 4 people went to the hospital with injuries.
Oh my God.
And 1 person died.
Oh no.
I don't know any of their names and I don't know any genders, so I don't know.
Was that because they fought each other, or is that?
I don't know. I don't know what their injuries are.
For him to then turn to Lieutenant Brandy Hart and ask her, did it happen because the kids were fighting each other? You saw in that just how far he was willing to stick, or attempting to stick, to this story that he was not part of what ended up happening. It jumped out at you.
I mean, it just came off as totally disingenuous when we watched it. I mean, we talked about that immediately the first time we watched the video, is he's trying to fake it, but he's not doing a good job.
Well, it's theater, because he had already been told at the time that he was arrested that he was being arrested for homicide.
So right now you're being placed under arrest, okay? You're being placed under arrest for homicide and attempted homicide.
He knew somebody was dead. It's all theater.
Whether you're innocent, whether you're guilty, whether you're anywhere along that line in the continuum, you're at a disadvantage when you're in a room alone speaking with the police.
One tack that the defense took was that, listen, there are untruths in that interrogation. There are some made-up stories. We now know it was his knife. He wasn't faced with 2 knives on the river that day. But how they tried to spin it was, you know what part of that story that never changed was the claim of self-defense.
I find it hard to imagine somebody thought he was lying when he said he believed he was acting in self-defense.
They have to put themselves into his shoes. And given the lies that he told after the incident, there would be no way for the jury to put themselves into his shoes unless they heard from him on the stand.
Most everybody figured Nicolae Miu was going to testify.
Judge, the defense calls Nick Miu.
Mr. Miu, please stand. Raise your right hand. The clerk will administer the oath.
I find it hard to imagine somebody thought he was lying when he said he believed he was acting in self-defense.
They have to put themselves into his shoes. And given the lies that he told after the incident, there would be no way for the jury to put themselves into his shoes unless they heard from him on the stand.
We don't often get to see the defendant take the stand, so when Miu took the stand, that was a pivotal moment.
Judge, the defense calls Nick Miu.
Mr. Miu, please stand. Raise your right hand. The clerk will administer the oath.
That's a really tough call when you have that interview. I think the jury would have expected to hear from him, but I don't think he did himself any favors with his testimony.
I lied about the knife. That's what I remember, afterward. Yeah, I lied about the knife.
What happened to the knife?
On the way back, I tossed it on the bank.
He rinsed it off. He tossed the knife on the riverbank and walked away from it.
I hear somebody got stabbed.
Had he instead went up to the police, indicated, here's what happened, I was fearful for my life, I felt I had no other choice, I think that would have went very far for the jury and for the defense. In fact, he may not have even been charged had he done that right at the get-go.
How does this case play out, you wonder, if he had said it was self-defense from the get-go, turned over the knife, admitted to police what had happened?
We win. We win.
So it would have been a more difficult case. It still doesn't change the fact that he took out his knife and started the fight.
Why'd you toss the knife?
I don't know. I was afraid. I felt like I had to throw it away.
What were you afraid of at that point?
I was overwhelmed with just fear, residual fear. And I didn't want to have anything to do with that.
The jurors did not like any part of his story.
I stood my ground. I stayed in place.
He coincidentally remembers everything that helps his case from that day, crystal clear, but then any other questions about what he did, he doesn't remember at all. You were touching your knife in your pocket to make sure it was there, right?
I don't remember that.
All right, well, let's take a look.
Some basic questions that there's even video of, he just said, I don't remember, I don't remember, I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
Did you see it on the video?
I see it on the video. I don't remember actually making contact.
So I think that it did just destroy whatever little credibility he had, which wasn't much to begin with.
And the jury took note. I spoke to two jurors, and both jurors pointed out how he remembered certain parts of that day, of what happened, of that encounter, what he saw, what he sees, what he was feeling. But again, over and over, I don't remember particularly any aspect critical to his self-defense claim. He had no answer.
Do you remember as you're running up, they're saying, whoa, 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 what's he doing?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I don't remember that.
All right, but you've seen it on the video.
Yes.
They did not like the I don't remember. They wanted to hear all of those holes filled in, and they didn't get it.
And when he took the stand, he wasn't able to give a clear and concise explanation for the prior lies that he had told.
I don't think that the jury was convinced that he needed to use a knife. I think that jury wanted to know why he didn't just walk away.
It doesn't matter.
The jury finds Nicolae Miu guilty of first-degree reckless homicide as submitted.
I think anyone watching this case wants to know why he didn't just walk away.
The jury finds Nicolae Miu guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety.
Nick was judged for not walking away, right? Whether that's the legal issue that they should have been looking at or not, I don't know.
I think there are three headlines from the jurors I spoke to. One is Miu hurt himself on the witness stand. Secondly, from the outset, there really wasn't much support for a self-defense claim in that jury room.
That still just boggles my mind. That's clearly a failure on our part if we didn't get that message out, on my part, that I didn't set that story up and that I didn't frame it, because this is self-defense.
One juror told me there was no fence around him. He could have gone downriver, he could have gone on the bank, he could have swam past, he could have walked past, and he chose not to.
I don't think that he enjoys taking direction from folks, and so when he was told to leave, he just decided flat out he was not going to leave, no matter what they said. He didn't want to leave. He could have, but he chose not to.
You know, you're left playing the what if game. What if he forgets about the cell phone? What if he, you know what, those boys are drunk, they're badgering me, I'm just gonna walk away. And yeah, I mean, he'll be asking those questions in prison for decades to come.
The defendant's actions, as we've heard today from the victims, affected so many people beyond Isaac and the other stabbing victims. You'd think, one would hope, even if he truly believed this was self-defense, he would at least feel sorry that somebody was killed because of his actions. There's been no evidence of that.
It's our position that he had a sincerely held belief. Mistaken, wrong, unreasonable, but the jury found it to be reckless. This is not an intentional act.
Mr. Miu.
Dear parents, family, and friends of Isaac, I would like to start by letting you know how deeply sorrowed I am, and I will always be, for the real fact that Isaac is not with you anymore, and that I was directly involved in his very tragic and unimaginable death at such an early age. I never meant for this tragedy to occur. My soul is broken. My heart is very heavy. And I will never be the same carrying such a heavy burden and sorrow. I pray to God for forgiveness, compassion, and love for everyone affected directly and indirectly by the outcome of this tragic event. I'm hoping that you appreciate how much I'm sorry for the outcome of those events. I'm very sorry.
So we'll have that marked as Exhibit 3, Judge.
That'll be received into the record. I must consider Mr. Miu's character and his rehabilitative needs. Mr. Miu's crimes were the product of circumstance, not intent. Mr. Miu was not looking to cause trouble or hurt anyone, but he made a series of very poor decisions. These are terrible acts that form an indelible stain on his character. Taking life and endangering the lives of others are two crimes that warrant significant punishment. Punishment for what Mr. Miu did, but also punishment that recognizes who he is and the circumstances of his crimes. Here, that punishment will involve the loss of liberty, because anything else would depreciate the seriousness of his crimes.